Yay! Second to last class. I know you guys are so excited. You're like, no more writing. You guys
Is this the last class?
next
Is that what
week?
you said?
Second to last.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I know. Oh my goodness. Do you guys do school over the summer at all?
I think we will do some this year, like a literature class, math, and stuff like that. But
Literature class.
yeah,
Really?
but I think that's it. We usually don't though.
No.
Yeah.
I've always made mine continue like some type of math, like review every day or at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Because math is something that if you're not using it, you tend to forget it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it works okay. My 11-year-old fights me on it now though.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how hard. I mean, this year's been hard with everything. But, oh my goodness, I'm waiting for NAVEYA and Preston to pop back on. Are you guys ready for May 1st? When the quarantine or stay at home is like,
Yes.
People are go crazy. I'm serious. Mobs of people outside now.
but everyone's gonna stay 6 feet apart, right?
Yeah, probably.
It might be kind of hard though.
I know. Yeah, I'm ready to like, I don't know, like just be able to like do it and people not look at you like you're weird.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Right.
Where's NAVEYA?
I don't know.
It's not like her to
Yeah, not be on time.
just making sure that she has the right link. Hope she's okay. Has anybody heard from her?
Oh. Renee's texting her right now.
Okay.
She hasn't said anything though. Maybe she's just in the, oh, she's said, oh yeah. I said, hey, are you gonna, oh. She thought it started at 10:30. Oops.
That's okay. We'd be sitting here for the next 12 minutes waiting on her. That would made some weird, awkward, like, yeah, faces. Like, okay, well, while we're waiting on NAVEYA, I just a question for you too. As I'm working on finishing up stuff on the yearbook, and we have pages to fill since we won't have like an end of year celebration or graduation or whatever. What's been like your favorite Eagle memory of the year?
Wow.
There's something that stands out.
I think just getting closer to everybody is my favorite part. Like from the beginning, even like with Emma, like meeting Emma and Cole, like that was their first year, and then like towards the end of the year, and we were all like pretty close. It's like there's not really a memory, but just like I don't really know how you put the end of the year book, but just like
A favorite moment, new friends, getting closer. Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
I don't really remember what like the first part of the year was like. I forgot.
It's been we go to Zoom.
That's all I remember.
Was there like a favorite rally or anything like that? Or
Sorry, I thought it started at 10:30.
you're really? Oh my goodness.
Wait, does it start at 10:15?
10:15, yeah.
Oh, I started at 10:10.
Well, I think I was given an extra like 15 or extra 5 minutes. Just normally, I guess in person it was 10, I think. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. You should have your KWOs done for your the story sequence, right? For what movie or book you picked. Okay, so Brooklyn, what movie or book did you pick?
I did a movie and I did the Christmas Project.
We did the same one.
You did the same one?
We watched the movie together, so we just like did it while we watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the Christmas Project.
It's a good
Okay.
movie. I should
It's
watch
such a
it.
cute movie. I love it.
Okay, and NAVEYA, you're doing Greatest Showman.
Yes.
And Bree-Lynn is doing Peach Dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a sad movie.
Okay, what are you doing, ALAURA?
The Book Thief. It's a book and a movie, so.
Good. I like that one. That's a good choice. Okay, Preston,
Yeah.
what book or movie did you pick to do your paper on?
I picked a movie.
What movie?
Onward. It recently came out. I didn't think I'd like it, but I watched it and I didn't like the ending, so that's why I'm picking it.
Didn't like the ending?
No.
Why? Did you want both of the boys to get to see the dad?
Yeah.
But do you realize why he didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, the overall, the importance of saying goodbye and having closure and realizing that his older brother really had been like a dad to him. Have you guys seen Onward?
No.
It's a good storyline. Good storyline. And if people who are like into like magic, or like Harry Potter type things, to me it's like a cartoon version of something that might happen in a Harry Potter realm, I guess. I don't know. Okay. So is that everybody? Okay. Why do I feel like I'm missing? Oh, Macy's not with us. Okay. She's moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're in the process of moving. I'm like, I know there's another person. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when we do the introduction and the conclusion for our critique, remember there's things that we need to think about. So we're thinking about like the background to maybe the storyline, or the background if you're doing a book of the author. If we're doing we can talk about the type of movie or book. So let me stick in a.
Wait, so is it like have to be a movie that like we don't like, or
No, you can do one you like. Oh, you can do either way.
Okay.
Either way. So for some people it's easier when you don't like it to talk about it. It's easier and from that standpoint. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Did I share the right thing? Yeah. Green box around it. Okay, so intro reminder. So we need to remember about the intro. We can talk about the background of the author or writer, if it's the movie. We can talk about the type of book or movie. So is it a thriller? Is it based on a true story? Is it a feel-good movie? So we're thinking about things like this. We can think about the actors or actresses in the movie, if it's a movie, or voices, since Preston is doing a movie that would have voiceovers. Are they accurate to what you pictured it to be? If you're reading like Book Thief, like ALAURA is doing, did you read it and then watch the movie?
Well, I watched the movie when I was younger, and then I
Okay.
read the book this year. So
Did you enjoy the book or the movie better?
the book.
The book is almost always the book. So if it was a book and then you watched the movie, did it were the characters how you expected them to be? Did they, do the voices fit the character? Did the actor or actress fit the character? So with like NAVEYA doing The Greatest Showman, was Hugh Jackman the right pick for the character? You know, and then you can start thinking about maybe, so I want you like to think about some thoughts that you might have of your opinions. And remember, we state our opinion as a what?
Statement or
Fact.
Fact
Statement.
statement. Yes. And we're gonna help each other out getting our intros started. And then remember, in our conclusion, this is when you can talk about the best part and why, worst part and why. It's the idea, was there a lesson? Did everything come together? Do you recommend? And why? So like The Greatest Showman, it could be something, you know, this movie is recommended to those who need a bit of inspiration of following their dreams. Or this movie is recommended this movie is must see because it shows what's truly important in life. Because Hugh Jackman realizes that it's his family that's most important, and the people he considers family, which would be those involved in the circus with him. So we know Preston did not like the ending to his movie. Is everybody else like, it was amazing and I love it and we're all gonna give positive reviews?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's also things that you can think about, especially if there's a lesson learned. If there's any like Bible verses or any quotes that can back up what you're thinking. So has anyone seen The Greatest Showman?
Yes.
Yes.
Has everyone loved the music?
Yes.
How many times have you heard like the soundtrack?
How many what have we heard?
How many times have you listened to like one of the songs? Can
lot.
anyone sing it
lot.
for me? Anybody want to sing The Greatest Show? Come on. This is the greatest
Me by the. Not even right.
Who wants to do like the dance moves?
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Like Zendaya has like a classic like kind of little thing that she does like in anything that she dances in. I don't know.
Oh,
It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So we think about The Greatest Showman. What do we know about The Greatest Showman? What do we know about it?
The guy following his dreams.
Okay. So we have a guy following his dreams. Is it loosely based on a true story?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And so we have dreams. Are they easy to follow or are they hard to follow?
Hard to find.
Hard.
Harder to follow. But we need, I'm going to put family or like family support. So I would draw a picture of like a family. And then what we learn from his story is, and I don't know if I'm going to spell it, if that's spelled right. So P.T. Barnum We have based true story. So we have what it is, what kind of movie it is. We know that it's based on a true story. So we have like kind of like the type of movie that it is. And then we can give some background of, have you ever been to a circus? What do you expect? You can talk about the circus master or the ring, you know. Have you guys been to a circus?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's way different now than when I was little. Because there used to be a whole lot more animals, and then they decided to take better care of the animals, and so now it's just more people doing crazy things. So the movie, why did you pick this movie, NAVEYA?
I think it's like a really cool storyline, and I really like all of the songs and like all of the songs. They're really good. So
So you can say the music brings the story to life.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can talk about what did P.T. Barnum starts the circus. He has to overcome trials in his life, and really what it comes down to is the audience can experience P.T. Barnum's life through the music and the other characters. So I would draw people. So we're getting like your thought and opinion into that. And I will send out the slides so you have these. I'm looking at other people's that might help you as well. Okay. Preston, are you ready? Is he with us? Are you there?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so why'd you pick Onward except for the fact that you don't like the ending?
I think it's a good storyline.
Okay, well, tell me about the storyline.
Well, this kid never gets to grow up with his dad.
Okay.
And these are spoilers, by the way, guys. This kid never gets to grow up with his dad. And so when he turns 16, he figures out that there's a way to bring him back. So halfway they're trying to bring him back, he only brings back his legs. And so they're stuck with his legs going on these crazy journeys all over the place, trying to figure out how to get the rest of him back. And then finally, once they do, they only have like an hour left. And so they go through all these obstacles and face all these challenges. And then when they finally are able to get the rest of his body back, they only have, I think it's like 1 minute or something like that, 1 minute left on the clock because they can only bring him back for 24 hours. So they had, I think they had 1 minute left on the clock. And the one that never has gotten to see him, didn't get to see him. And the older brother did. And that was not cool. Yo.
Okay, but there's a bigger picture to this movie. Not that I'm all about magic and that kind of stuff, but there is a bigger picture to the storyline. And that is because the little brother finds out that the big brother never really had that chance to say goodbye. And so he had a lot of hurt and needed that closure.
Yeah.
Which is very important. But this movie shows the importance of a father figure in your life. I think that this movie is like spot on in that it didn't matter how much the mom tried to be both mom and dad, it's that you need a father figure in your life. And that really, this movie really shows the importance. So our movie Onward proves importance of dad. And you could draw a picture of dad. So even though it's a animation, or is that the right word, or animation cartoon?
It's an animation, yeah.
Okay, animation. Even though it's an animation, it still brings emotion. So we can introduce our characters. I do not remember their names.
I don't either.
We're going to say little brother, big brother.
Yes.
Journey. A journey and experience new things together.
Yeah.
And which then overcoming obstacles to find each other, because they do. And then what that happens is little brother has to make a decision where we can all relate. And we see the importance of dad. And then I might draw like a light bulb here, because it's like the light bulb goes off. Who wants to watch Onward now? Does that make you like sad?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll let you know I did cry at the end. I did cry at the end. It was very sad. It was like kind of like, I don't know, it's just a little emotional there.
Dude, I almost did. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I think my brother and my dad watched it, and I think they both cried.
It
I
is.
think, yeah.
So maybe you can say something like that instead, cry or something about tears, that even though the storyline is strong and we can empathize with characters. I'm just writing words here for you that can help. And maybe these words will ring true as you're doing your own introduction. Remember, you don't have to follow this. We're just talking through so you can see what the introduction of a critique is supposed to be like. Okay. Berlin, Peach Dragon. Why'd you pick this one?
I don't know. I really like how they did the movie. I don't know. I like the story and how it ended and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What do you like about the story?
I like that. I don't know. I really like the kid in it and how they showed that he went. I don't really know how he went through the forest and survived and stuff.
Okay. So we could say this story shows the story, or Peach Dragon. Would you call it an adventure or a journey? What words would you use?
Probably journey.
Okay. Could we say it's a journey, a story that shows the journey of survival?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who's your favorite character?
I don't know. Maybe the daughter. I don't remember her name.
Hey, tell me about this journey that they're on.
He's on a journey. He's once he sees the people cutting the trees, then he runs and they're chasing him, and then they get him, and then he gets knocked out, and then he gets brought to I don't know what it is, a nursing home or a doctor. I mean, not a doctor, but a hospital or something. I don't know. And then he escapes, and then I don't remember what happens next, but then he ends up going to their house, and then they talk to him, and then he ends up staying with them after everything happens. So.
Okay, so we have the journey. It's a story of journey about survival. So Pete, it's been a really long time since I've seen this movie. Okay, So Pete, you said something about the forest, right? He sees them cutting down trees.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You want me to help?
yeah,
This is Amy.
please. I am like racking my brain. I'm like, I've seen this and I've seen it several times, but why can't I remember?
It's okay. So when Pete he sees the lumberjacks cutting down the trees and stuff, the daughter of one of them, she spots Pete and chases him into the forest. And so like Breland said, the girl actually falls and she screams, and that's what draws everyone's attention. And so they go into the woods and they try to get Pete out of the tree, and he accidentally falls and gets knocked unconscious, goes to the hospital, wakes up and escapes when they're not looking. In the meanwhile, one of the brothers who is chopping down trees and stuff, he's like the brother that's not nice at the beginning of the movie, and he the dragon actually knocks over a tree in the woods, and they're like real suspicious, so they decide to go back and try to find out what's going on. And they end up finding the cave where Pete and the dragon live, and so he gets scared off because the dragon shows himself. And so anyway, while Pete is at the house of the ranger, and then the guy, the foreman or whatever, whoever he is, of the lumberjack group, he draws a picture of his dragon and shows it to the forest ranger, who shows it to her dad because he told stories of this dragon for years, and her dad convinces him to believe that he's telling the truth and to go look for the dragon. So they end up going out to look for the dragon the next day, and while they're there, the other brother shows up with like a bunch of hunters, and they end up tranquilizing the dragon and hauling him off. Everyone has seen the dragon at this point that was in the woods, and anyway, they take him and put him in a big building, but that Pete and the little girl help him escape, and so does the dad of the ranger. Anyway, there's a big chase that ensues, and he ends up, they barricade the bridge, and then the dragon ends up like setting the bridge on fire, and it crashes, and the ranger and her boyfriend, or I guess they're the ones that fall like off the bridge. Their car goes down or whatever, and the dragon saves them. And the Pete flies off with the dragon at that point, and they go back to their cave. But the dragon like doesn't want him to stay there because he's afraid Pete will be in trouble or something. So he talks Pete into going back. So he goes back, and the dragon ends up going off and staying with other dragons somewhere, finds his friends or his family. But they all live happily ever after because the boy gets adopted. So that's it.
Okay. No, that helps a whole lot. Okay. Because it's been a very long time. Okay, so when we have this, so this story really shows a journey of survival and eventually acceptance. Because the little boy, because Pete, becomes adopted, and the dragon finds other dragons. But it all starts, when you think about it, with the spark of imagination. So the idea of the story really does spark imagination, which comes from trust.
Oh, and at the beginning of the movie, the boy, it all starts out when he's on a family vacation, and their car almost hits a deer, and so the dad ends up wrecking the car, and the parents die. So
okay.
The dragon saves the boy from a pack of wolves. So that's how they become friends.
Okay. So we have this, so imagination, just think about a dragon, or to think about, this idea, it really is like this idea of what can your mind create. And so sparking this idea of imagination, which comes through trust. and friendship. So I might draw two people together to show friendship. So this movie is what kind of movie? How would you classify this movie? Do we say it's an adventure? Is it a family movie? A family adventure?
Yeah, family adventure maybe.
Okay, so we get in the idea of what it is. And I'm going to put this in parentheses, and then I might put, so I would remember what it is, like FA or something. So it's a family adventure. Valuing, because of with the family dying, you know, at the beginning, valuing a traditional or I don't want to say family again. It's a family adventure, valuing, but it is the idea of families.
Yeah, I don't know. That's hard to.
I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to send you an email because there's a word that I just can't think of, like that I want there, and it's not the right word yet. So it's a family adventuring, valuing like that morals or values or something along that lines. I just can't think of what it is. And how do you feel about the characters? Do they represent who they're supposed to be? Are the characters or where did the story come from? Do we have any background? I might find some background information about the story, like who wrote it and maybe why they wrote it. And then the characters. What do the characters do? Do the characters pull you in to their story? Do the characters, or even with the idea of like the girl screams, that's what kind of puts everything in motion. It puts this crazy tale into motion. And eventually we see that Pete discovers family and friendship. Then we can give some idea about what the story is about. That's what we're doing. We're giving some background. We're giving you some thoughts and ideas. And it's really our opinion, except for if you've mentioned who wrote it and why they wrote it. But the rest of it is really your opinion that you're stating as fact. Remember that. We're stating this as a statement or a fact. Okay. Okay, Brooklyn and Brene, you're doing the same one. Are you able to take notes and then you guys make it your own?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me about Christmas Project. I have not seen this.
You should see it. Pretty cute movie.
I know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm rewatching Peach Dragon, and now I'm gonna watch Christmas Project.
Yes. So pretty much there's 4 brothers, and how do you explain? They have a Christmas tradition that they do this elving thing where they pick one family at Christmas time, and then they just every other night or something they bring them gifts and food, like under disguise, kind of.
Okay.
So then there's like these school bullies, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's really dumb, but it's really nice.
It's a cute movie.
It's a cute movie. So like there's like these school bullies, and they like
The Hagbarts.
the Hagbarts, and they really like kind of beat up the 4 boys, the main characters or whatever. And so then one night they all sat down as a family, and they were trying to pick out like who they would like help or like go and like bless in a way. And so they were like picking all these different families, and then they, like, this new girl came in who moved next
It's a
door.
neighbor.
Her name's
Juniper.
and both of the boys, Matthew and Simon, both have a crush on her. So they wanted to do their family, but then the mom decided we should do the Hagbarts.
Well, see, they all pick out of this stocking, and after the second boy, which was Matthew, she wanted a girl. So then everything she has and wears.
The mom wanted a girl
Yes.
as a baby.
Yeah. So then she had pink everywhere, and then so she was like, well, since I have 2 of the votes, I'm just gonna choose. So nobody wanted to do it but her because the Hagbarts were bullies, but they did it anyways. And then pretty much the moral of the story is they kind of.
Well, they went every night to the Hagbarts, and the Hagbarts didn't know, because there's like, see, they would like put it on their doorstep, and they lived in like a shack. So it was like they never saw any parents. There's just like 4 kids, and never any parents around, and then they live in like a really like, there's literally nothing in the house. There's like maybe a lamp and like some clothes. Like they literally had nothing. And so that's why the mom wanted to bless them so much, is because they didn't have anything. And so it was really hard for the boys to go and bless them, even when they were getting beat up every day at school by them. So it was like really hard for them to do that. But it like,
They realized the true meaning of like kindness and Christmas, stuff like that.
That sounds so sweet. Oh my goodness. Okay, so definitely, like with this, you could pull in some Bible, like a Bible verse. That might be something like of how you start a Bible verse about how we're told to pray for our enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how we're supposed to treat others.
Yeah.
Or even if you didn't want to do a Bible verse just yet, you could do a quote about kindness.
Yeah. And they even have like some quotes in there, or not quotes, but like what they say. Like one of their Matthew's best friends, Alan, he always like gives them little nuggets of things. And their bus driver gives them some nuggets and stuff. So like we took some like quotes from what they say, and so like there's also like we could use some of those.
Right, I like that. Like even using something directly from the movie. Okay, so then we can give some like background and some ideas about the movie. So really the ideas is that it's a movie that is a lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
Because do we know what somebody else may or may not have?
No.
Not always. So until we get to know somebody, we don't understand who they are. A lot of times we look at other people through somebody else's eyes instead of looking at them through our own eyes. So it's a lesson for everyone because we need to, and I would draw pictures of eyes, look at others through like our own. And I do more eyes. So would you say that it's just a Christmas movie, or you could watch it anytime?
Probably just a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie? Okay, so you can say it's a Christmas movie with everyday principles. And I don't want it to switch to that. I want this to be the way I had it. Autocorrect. No, I want to leave it as a. Okay. And it's 4 brothers push through bullying.
Mm-hmm.
To bless others. Do you know why it or who wrote it, or like their intention or anything like that?
I think it was
A true story.
a true story. So the second oldest, Matthew Buckley,
Okay.
is the one that wrote about. Like he's a writer.
Because he's like narrating it, so he's kind of like going back to
Yeah.
like
his.
Okay.
yeah, I think envisioning or like remembering back. So he's like kind of telling the story as it happens. So yeah.
Okay, so then it could be something like this true story shows that we need to live by example.
Yeah.
That's really what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you can would go into like what the movie is about. Okay. The Book Thief. What do you like about are you doing the movie or the book, ALAURA?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, so then just tell me about the storyline or why did you pick this story?
I don't know. I just really liked it.
You really liked it? Okay.
It's really sad.
It is very sad. I haven't read the book, ALAURA, but I want to. But the movie was good, but I cried and cried.
And so why is it sad? Why do you think it's sad?
Well, first, this little girl's mom can't keep her and her brother, so she's taking her to foster parents. But then on the train, her brother dies. And they have to bury him by the railroad tracks. That's really sad.
Oh, that is, yeah, I can't imagine. And it's beginning with such a story of loss and brokenness. Is there any part of it that you find to be happy? Where does our brokenness or our loss take us in the story?
Well, when she gets to like her foster parents, like the mom's like kind of mean, but not really. Like just kind of cross, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then the dad's like super sweet. He's my favorite character.
Oh, well, good. Now we have something to work with. I mean, yes. I like when we have favorite characters or favorite scenes, because that's something that you can include in the conclusion. Okay, so tell me more about what you got from watching the movie or reading the book. More details. I like hearing it from your guys' perspective.
Well, in the movie, she only steals books, but like in the book, her and Rudy like steal fruit from apple trees, and they're like in a gang.
Okay.
So
why does she steal books?
well, first she steals one from the gravedigger that buried her brother, but she couldn't read yet, so she just picked it up because he dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
She kept it. And then she steals one from a burning fire, which seems kind of dangerous.
It is. Okay. And how do you feel like the story ends?
Well, they all die.
Oh wow.
So there's really no
Olivia, shut up.
So there's no like moment that you could like turn the story around.
I know she doesn't die. I was about to say that.
Is that your sister?
Yes.
Do you love having siblings?
Yes and no.
I feel you. I have 3 brothers. I understand. Okay. So we really see this story about loss. But what can we learn from that? Is there anything we can learn from that?
Well, she ends up living happily, even though she lost her whole family.
Mm-hmm. Can we learn about choices? Do we have a choice? I mean, some people could spin it that we have a choice to be happy, even despite our situation that we're in.
Yeah.
So that could be one way that we could take it. Okay. So we really have this, you could almost do a quote about, what it means to lose something, or what it means to choose happiness despite everything. Start off in something in that direction, and then you would talk about the book thief, depending on if you went with the movie or the book, whichever way you were leaning. And I can't remember the author. Shares a story. Shares the right word. And shares a story. I might put a mouth there so I know that they're talking or they're sharing. About, and then you could talk about the girl and going from losing everything to gaining something at the end. So why do you think it's called The Book Thief?
Because she steals books.
What does she?
That
What
sounds lame.
No, but does she gain anything by stealing books? Why do you think she steals books?
ALAURA, does since I haven't read the book, in the book, does she like take books out of a wealthy person's home when she's delivering laundry?
Yes, well, she doesn't start off taking them.
Uh-huh.
The mayor's wife lets her read them first, and then she has to stop because she can't do the laundry anymore.
Right. Okay. So that's the same way as in the movie. Okay. And then, but the lady keeps letting her come back or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What does reading do for her? What do these books do for her? That's what I want you to think about. And this is about your thoughts. Why do you think it's, titled this? What does reading do for her, or the books do for her? And you say the first book that she takes is from the grave digger who buried her brother. So could we say, if we were to go psychologist on this, is it a way that connects her to part of her family? Or is it a way that she can move forward in something? And we think about, why do we read? I know I read.
Escape reality or something?
Yes, escape reality, yes. So we can think about escaping, what happens when we need to escape our own reality. Because that's really I think that's why most people read, or people get sucked into Netflix, and before they know it, they haven't showered in 5 days, and their breath smells like onions and garlic, ate sour cream and onion potato chips or something, because they've watched how many seasons of whatever show they're watching. It's like an escape from reality. And then I think about, what do you feel like the story teaches us, or teaches the reader? Does it show, you could think about, let me think here. So the girl, she connects with the dad, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He teaches her how to read.
So we have dad. So dad figure teaches her to read. And this shows the importance of having somebody who supports you in your life. This is a like moment of coming together, or a moment of like a better reality for her. So she's holding on to like books as something that's bigger than the situation that she's in. So she kind of like takes control of her life in a way. And if we want to get all teacher-like, you know, you can't get anywhere without reading. Like, I heard that. I remember being like elementary school, like, you will never amount to anything if you don't learn how to read. You know, reading will take you places. Like, I think of all the Saturday morning quotes that were on during commercials. I'm thinking about like what she did, because then in the end, she's able to have the ability to choose something at the end, despite everything she's been through. Or we can take it as a story of what happens when you have so much pain and loss. You know, your mother can't afford you, so she gives you to the foster care system, and then you find a family, and then you lose that family. So there's a couple of different ways that you could take this, depending on what you think about, or what this book means to you, because this is a deep book. In many ways, it really is. And so, in the idea of what happens when you have loss, and the dad teaching, it's the connection. And then you lose everything like all over again. And then you're left with a choice. So something along that lines. Does that help you guys get thinking about how to introduce this? How are you feeling about writing your introductions?
Good.
Are you good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So for your homework, it is going to be to write the introduction. I know that you guys know how to write the story sequence. As long as you have your KWOs done, that's all I'm going to ask for with that. This really is writing the introduction, and next week we're going to do the conclusion. And go through it. But I want your instructions, and if you can send them to me before class next week, so then we can read them and go through them, and then we would have an idea of how we can like wrap things up in a conclusion.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Are you good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's the end of the year and everyone is like, oh, just want to get done. So instead of you writing 5 paragraphs, in essence, you'll just be writing 2, the introduction, and then next week the conclusion. We're good with that?
Yeah.
You don't have to do like the body paragraph.
You're not going to do the body paragraphs.
What?
I just need your KWOs.
Yay.
Because you guys have written so much story sequence, you know, in the last few weeks. I'm good with where you guys are with that. You guys got that.
Do you want us to wait to send you the KWOs, or do you want us to send them this week?
Go ahead and send the KWOs because you should have them done. Yeah. I
Yes.
just want to see them.
Okay.
And then so I kind of get maybe where your intro will be, like the idea of where you're going to go with that. So we're good?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yay! Okay. One more week.
Yay.
Go Party! Because Tennessee will be open.
Yes.
Oh, finally.
Oh.
I'm just happy to go see people. And I'm ready for church to open.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
That's the part I've missed,
Yes.
are my church friends. Yeah.
Yep.
But okay, well, let me know if you have questions over this week, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank
Yes.
you.
You are so welcome. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.